Thanks for stopping by the Obviously Authentic channel. My name's Leah, that's spelled Lea and not Leah. So we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of New Jersey. So it picks up where it left off, with the lady still trying to talk to Teresa at the counter, and she's saying like she's well, not at the counter, at the dinner, and she's saying she's over it. We pick up at the next day. Margaret's sitting on the porch talking to her Joe, and then Melissa's in the kitchen, and Lex is helping Melissa like cook breakfast for the ladies. So Margaret's on the phone, and Joe, I will say her Joe made a good point where he was like, Teresa doesn't understand anybody's point except her own, which I believe is true. Like, she don't understand nobody's point except her own. So trying to convince her that like she was wrong for what she did, she not gonna get it, because in Teresa's mind, she's not wrong, even though she was wrong. She was definitely wrong. Side note, Jackie wasn't in this, and I actually did not miss her. I was looking for her, but like, I actually didn't miss her. Like, well, we didn't physically see her like on the screen, but we heard her on the phone, but I'll get to that part later on. So the ladies are going to take like a booze cruise, like on the lake. And like first they're going to stop and get something to eat. And they bring up the Devos, which is like their husbands and like male friends. And they were talking about getting like gorgified, which is where the men get drunk, like white girl wasted, but have a good time. Like I said, I like these husbands because they seem to be like genuine friends, which I think is really cool. Because on the other franchises, it just seems like they're being forced to be together. These guys seem like they like kicking it with one another. So we're at the restaurant, everybody's ordering like a little food and, shrimps and like drinks. And the conversation comes up about, I guess, Melissa feeling like she still doesn't like trust Joe all the way. Like Dolores makes a comment saying that, back in the day, I used to be the type that if I left my man alone, he would cheat on me. And I guess now she's like, she's above that. But Melissa says she still has that fear. And when she was talking about her relationship with Joe seems super like high school-y to me. Like the fact that she was like, when Margaret and Margaret and Melissa go out and Joe finds out, or like they stay out too long, he comes back and was like, all right. And then he wants to go out with his friends and party extra, extra hard. And I was like, that's childish as I don't know what. Like, that is super childish to me. And then I was with Jennifer, because Jennifer was like, if my husband goes out, I'm comfortable and trust him enough to be like, call me when you get there and call me like when you're on your way back. And I was like, yeah, like she was like, who wants to be on eggshells in a relationship? And I'm like, yeah, girl, you got 3 kids. Y'all have 3 kids. Like, if you didn't trust him after the first one, or you didn't trust him before you had kids, then like at this point you should just let it go, in my opinion. Because there's no point for you to sit there and be like, I don't trust him, and like, well, she didn't say she doesn't trust him, but she basically made it seem like she don't trust him, which I was just like, what's the point of y'all being together then? That's stupid. But yeah, that's just stupid to me. That's stupid. But then she also brings up Antonia, which is her daughter, who we know just turned 15, and about how she has her little boyfriend, Zach. And then they all start talking about when they lost their virginity. Teresa, Jennifer, and Dolores didn't tell their age, but Melissa says she lost hers at 18, and then Margaret says she lost hers at 15. And I'm glad that Melissa says she wants to give Antonia the talk, which I think is important, even though she says her kids have like access to the internet. And that's true, because growing up I had access to the internet, but I feel like helping your kids distinguish between what pornography is and like real sex, I think is really important. And because you need to have open communication so your kids do feel comfortable coming to speak to you about those types of matters. Like, my mom and my dad have always made it like seem like, granted, I don't like having them conversations with them, so I really don't. But when I was around that age, they made me feel very comfortable in coming to them and talking to them about those things. Like, it was never like it was awkward, but it was never like I felt like I was being I was never scared, or I was never felt like I would be punished for bringing up these types of topics. So I think it's really important that like all the women talk to their sons and daughters and anybody in between on the gender spectrum about sex, because learning sex from the internet I think is a horrible idea, because you can be bombarded with so many different types of information, and not all that information is good information. But they leave the restaurant and they get on the little booze cruise. This part I didn't like. They played a prank on Joe. Teresa called Joe and basically was saying that Melissa was out here basically cheating. She got a phone number from a guy at a restaurant and he got upset, which I would be too. Like, I would be mad. Like, I would, when I was with him, when he was like, the only reason I believed it was because it came from my sister. If my sister called me and was like, my husband is out here, I saw him talking this, and this, doing this, I would believe it and I would be pissed. Like, you don't involve your family and stuff like that. So I didn't think the prank was funny. I thought it was in like poor taste, and I wouldn't want nobody playing that prank on me. Like, you just said that you don't really trust your husband. I don't even think he probably trusts you. So I was like, you made yourself, like, that was stupid to me. That joke was so stupid to me. But Joe took it in stride, which I was like, I mean, I was glad he didn't get like mad or like upset. Cause I would totally like agree with him if he did get mad or upset. Cause I was like, don't play on my phone like that. I'd have told him straight up, don't play on my phone like that. So they get back from the booze cruise. Everyone's like in their own little spot. And then Jennifer decides to go to Dolores and talk to Dolores. Side note, Dolores looks so good laying on that bed in her little crop top with her little shorts on. I was like, okay, Dolores. Y'all know I love me some Dolores. I said, okay, girl. But she basically was in like Jennifer basically came in there to talk to Dolores because Jennifer got some little gossip about Melissa and Joe, mainly Joe. So at Jackie's party, I think the young lady that Teresa brought, her name is Michelle, she told Jennifer that Joe owes her husband like tens of thousands of dollars because he was a speaker at his, what is it called, Growing with Gorga event, and he never paid him. And like Jennifer said, it's been a lot of rumblings on the internet, on Twitter, on the blog sites and stuff about how Joe will steal pictures from other people's like home improvement pages or like landscaping pages and say that it's his work, and it's the people whose work it actually is will call him out for it. So it's not that far-fetched to believe that maybe he doesn't have money and he owes someone tens of thousands of dollars. But Jennifer was talking to Dolores, and I like how Dolores was like, girl, she in the... Because I forgot that Dolores and Melissa were sharing a room. So Dolores was like, girl, you know she in there. We need to move. So they moved, I guess, to Jennifer's room. And Dolores basically said, you should tell her, but be careful in the way that you choose your words. Which I thought was the best. Like, be careful in the way you choose your words. But you should definitely tell her. But since it, because like my thing is like, it's on camera. You got the information. If you hadn't brung it to her, then like... she probably would have felt some type of way like you were trying to be sneaky. So I do think it's important that she like tells her like, yo, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but this is what Michelle told me. Which I can already see like there's probably going to be a rift between Melissa, Joe, and Teresa, because I think Michelle is Teresa's friend. But... So then we see the Devos. So it's Joe, Melissa's Joe, Margaret's Joe, Bill, which is Jennifer's husband, and Frank, which is Dolores' ex-husband. They all meeting up at Joe's house to eat like sushi and I guess play poker. And the conversation about the whole Evan situation with Teresa and stuff. And I found it very interesting that Margaret's Joe kind of let the cat out the bag that basically the rumors are like Teresa didn't make up this rumor. Granted, I didn't think Teresa made up the rumor. I do still side with Jackie in the sense of like, girl, you shouldn't have brought that up at my husband's party. Like, she should have came to Jackie and say, yo, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but this is the rumblings I hear in the streets. So I'm on Jackie's side when it comes to that portion. But Margaret's Joe basically said he heard it too. And they were like, oh, so do you know the source? And he was like, well, there's a lot of women that be at my house and they don't know how to whisper. So, like, I guess it is a topic of conversation that he out here in them streets. Granted, don't nobody have proof or no, but I do kind of feel like there might be some truth to it, just a little bit. Only because of how angry and upset Jackie and Evan are, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But all the men went around the table, and Frank said he didn't believe that Evan cheated because he was like, when we hang out with Evan, Evan's always been faithful. Billy said he didn't believe it. I think Joe, Melissa's Joe said it too. And then Frank, Margaret's Joe was like, I'm 99% sure that he's like a good dude. And then Bill was like, yeah, it is always that 1%. So I understand what you're saying. But hopefully he not cheating. Like, I hope he not. But like I'm kind of happy that like Teresa wasn't the one that like created the rumor. Because I was like, if you did, I was like, you're foul for that. I mean, I still think she's wrong for spreading it, but like making up a rumor like that, like that's desperate, and that means you press. But the way she went about delivering that information to everyone, it was out of pocket and it was messy. And so Teresa needs to take ownership of that, but she's not going to take ownership of that. So we switch back over to the women, and Jackie and Margaret are out on the patio, and they decide to call Jackie, or Jackie calls them, but they talk about the situation. And this is where I said I think there might be a little bit of truth to this, because I don't understand why Teresa needs to call Evan and apologize. Like, yes, she was she was definitely wrong, but I don't know, it's the emphasis on like, you need to call my husband. And like they said, well, can you apologize for what you said about the analogy? And Jackie's sticking to her guns and saying no. So I'm like, well, if you're not going to apologize, then she not going to apologize. Like, y'all, this is my thing about Jackie. You know how Teresa is. Like, you had a beef with her, like, all last season. Like, y'all argued back and forth. So my thing that I don't understand with Jackie is, you know that's not going to happen. You're not going to get an apology. The ladies are not going to obviously stop hanging out with Teresa. So two things are going to happen. Either you're going to stop like hanging with them and filming with them, or you're going to suck it up, not deal with Teresa, ignore her, and go on about your business and enjoy the friend group. Because I don't think you're not going to get an apology. I really feel like had you used a different analogy, maybe if you use Joe, like her ex-husband, but the fact that you use Gia, which you know how much she cares about Gia, like you meant to hurt her and you did hurt her. That's why she's so angry and upset. But you should also understand that does not mean she's like, that you're not going to get an apology, Jackie. Neither is Evan. Like, if Teresa really apologized, I will be super duper surprised and shocked. Like, because in the 11th season of this show, I don't think I've ever seen Teresa give like a genuine apology. Maybe to her parents. Yeah, no, she apologized to her parents about how like, going to jail and like disrespecting them or embarrassing them in that way. But I don't think I've ever seen her apologize to any of the women on the cast. So I don't know what Jackie expects to happen. But like I said, either stop hanging out with them or like only film scenes with the people you want to, or suck it up and kick it with the group and just vibe or something and just ignore Teresa. Or just argue with her. Like, it's Teresa. Like you said, Jackie, you're smart. Argue with her. You probably will stump her and piss her off even more. So like, I don't know. I just think it's stupid. At this point, because like I'm with Melissa when she said we beating a dead horse, because like Teresa's not going to apologize and Jackie's not going to apologize. So in my opinion, I just feel like they should both just be like, you know what? We don't mess with each other, but we can be somewhat cordial to be in this group. But Teresa don't know how to be cordial and Jackie don't know how to be cordial, to be honest. So it's just kind of like I think it's a moot point. I think I've used that right. I just think it's dumb. But, Teresa got mad because they were sitting at the table, like, eating dinner, and she felt like the ladies were ganging up on her, which they weren't, but they were all basically saying, like, girl, you wrong. Like, Melissa even said she was wrong. I think Margaret said she was wrong as well. So I'm just kind of like, You're wrong. But I don't get how Teresa does these mental gymnastics to be like, I'm right all the time when you're definitely not. But she gets mad, calls everybody a-holes, goes to her room, talks about she gonna leave, and then Jackie can come, whatever. And then they in the episode with them making s'mores and everybody being afraid of outside because they can't see and things like that. So I think next episode is gonna be good. We'll get to see Jackie like in person instead of like on the phone, and cause that's like how they had their conversation about her not apologizing and what Evan needs to be for forgiveness. But yeah, I give this episode, it was like a C. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like, oh wow. But that's it. That's all. Be bravely authentic. Have a good day, a good night. Whenever you see this, I hope you're having a wonderful time. And you know what? Deuces.